Good evening, everybody. I'm the Sith Trader, and welcome to another ForceSweep trading session. And the NQ is open. The Globex bell has run. And remember, trading futures and balls risk is not suitable for all investors, and everything I talk about here today is just my opinion and not trading advice. So that's the big difference between what I do and some of these other people on X and Twitter and other places. I'm not charging you for this. I'm simply sharing my own trades in a free and open forum with no expectation that this is a single service or that you can even follow what I do. With all that being said, I'm glad you're here. You can learn how to lose money from me. And perfect. The jokes aside, let's try to see if I can't capture some profits today. The mid-opening range is set up. We have a little bit of a gap lower. I am kind of interested to see if they want to try to fill a gap here today. There's definitely a bit of a bid under the market right now. Larry, sorry about there's a bit of a offer on the market right now. You'll let this opening range just play out. See if it can't, well, I don't know if we'll get a gap fill before. The mid-opening rate is still playing out here. We've got nothing to do but sit back, wait, and enjoy the show until we get something to do, right? They're kind of pushing it here. I do wonder if we're gonna see a gap fill before the opening range. We'll see. Hope everybody had a good day. Oh, I gotta come over to chat. My wife has not had a baby yet. So we're just sitting here twiddling our thumbs. Or I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting for her to have a baby. Not much for me to do but show up at the hospital. Drag her to the hospital, I suppose, right? How do we got an opening range right now? Sorry, guys, I was a little distracted here into the after the open, but opening range 29,100 to 29,027. But that's a decent range if you ask me. At play right now. I'm anticipating a bit of a gap fill here before, or maybe not. I mean, it's chopping around. What I'm going to hate seeing is it go up and fill the gap and then come back down to try to trade that, whatever it's called. I mean, we still got puffs, barely positive CBD. After yesterday's trade, you gotta love markets that mess with you a bit. Just bought a fresh 50K Lucid Flex. I hope you use that code Sith. Oh man, shameless plug. Thanks, Sidden. Yeah, I'm, for those that don't know, I'm an Ironman triathlete. I do Ironmans. I also do Olympic distance and sprint. But in my 30s, my early 30s, I mean, it's almost been 10 years now, I got into this. I wanted to get myself in like the best shape of my life. Believe you me. I mean, I was by no means like really out of shape, but I swam and played water polo growing up, so always been pretty athletic. But in my college years, in my 20s, I definitely let myself go a bit, right? But I decided, once I got to 30, I wanted to just totally get my. I don't at Tradeify. I mean, use my buddy Irish's code over at Tradeify, the dots, and at Apex. The dots. The guy who created the dots that you see during the day session that I sometimes use. One of these times it's gonna pop to fill that gap, in my opinion. We'll see if it plays out or not. I should look into Tradeify myself, though. A lot of firms trade lighting. One of them I wouldn't say anything bad about. I mean, they seem to be doing the right things. You know, I've never heard of bad payout, no payout issues. So the ones run by some of those scaries you got to worry about, right? Hard to tell, though. Wow, this is just chopping about. Okay, we're through the first 10 minutes. This is actually a really interesting looking range. Like, we really have a true range for once, where we've been flirting around. It actually had some positive vibes above the VWAP here. Kind of interesting to see. Just, it's like holding up, right? And it feels like the gap fill wants to almost be a target, which I should put, on the chart here to kind of know where that level is. Because there's a very high probability we will trade towards that level. At some point today. Whether that, and that's where I would fear if we go down first. because the gap fill above us could be like a magnet, you know? I would say there's probably a good number of people in here who didn't pay out. I mean, not necessarily just from the ForceSweep, right? You know, but I definitely have used this to be a big component of my success, right? I do trade the New York session at times. I stream that as well. I use indicators like the dots and VWAP and, you know, things to trade then to I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I want to buy a breakout of this high here for a gap fill. Like, I don't hate that trade because we're got good confirmation. You know, you're above the view up here. But we will see. Then change up our music a little bit, bring back that no copyright sounds. Be a little more upbeat, right? Nice sound. I think that's a good way of testing on a new system, right? You kind of open up an email, see how it treats you, see how it behaves, get familiar with what's going on. Don't throw your money behind something you don't understand. You know, all those things, right? And to what Nico's saying is really the goal, I think, of every trader, or should be for day traders. Is, you know, day trading's tough. You're going to go through ebbs and flows where you're successful and you're not. It's much easier to have some other form of income and to, you know, have something to back yourself up with. But everyone's doing this for that financial freedom, right? 10-minute opening range is set up and looking like it wants to push through the top and through the highs here. Probably going to be going towards a gap fill here. Personally, that's what I would expect it to do. Batch of surprises not going right here. We'll see. I did take it, by the way. Let him out. Oh boy, somebody's calling me. Alright, well, I'm gonna net bumper for myself on the day, but we're going to, do I know Tom Dante? That actually really rings a bell right now. Let me Google him real quick. I mean, I've got a pretty thick Rolodex of traders in Chicago. Professional mentoring. No, see, I've never, not him. I know Jody Michaels. He's actually, I wonder if she's still doing her thing. I'm gonna look her up right now. Right, 7-minute opening range, orb has broken. Let's, I'll get to this, answering that question about from if people we know. I think I've seen Dante's, like, some of Dante's work, but not, I don't know him personally. But you people who, there's a lot of psychological mentorship for traders, right? Alright. Can you share my thing now? Well, that's not how that works. There we go. Alright, so we broke the opening range to the upside. I'm okay with this break. I don't think it's a bad break at all. But what we're looking for now, folks, is that a sweep back to highs. Honestly, the gap, though, could probably be more of a target for y'all. I'm going to take it back to the, what is this called? A day target. Oh, it's coming down quick here, folks. Oh man. That might have been the... son of a bitch. That might have been the front end of it right there. This is just not my week for this trade. I'm being patient. There it is. And I'm in. Build like to the tick here today. I'm going to be probably trying up to stop getting free very soon. This is happening all too soon, folks. We're not ready. We're not ready. I'm going to be broke my stop to break even here pretty soon. This is 180 ticks. It's not that wide.
Here we go.
Oh, it's a little wider than that, I guess. 192. I'm going ahead and put my stop at break even here in a minute. We already had 10 points in the way. Could always get back in. But I got a good reaction. I'm not going to be kind of conservative. After yesterday, oh, don't come down and get me. Might even should start locking in like 5 points here. Yeah, I'm going to personally. Main reason I'm doing that is because I already kind of have the profits on the day. Believe it or not. Alright, let's take a look though at the volume bars real quick. Kind of take a look at that participation from this level. I see I'm going to assume we're going to see something good here. I'm trying my stop up. 88. Yep, 88 even is going to be where stops. I'm locked in 15 points now already. Tonight is our night. Wow, that. There we go. Come on, take out that high of the day again. I need one more push up and I'm putting come on, don't come back down and get me. Alright, stops going to 95 even for me. That's going to lock in over 20 points. We'll do, okay, I'm out, but I imagine, holy smoke, so it's already really amazing. Yeah, okay, I wanted to at least get 20 points out of this first reaction. I do think this one's going to go to target with the gap fill above. Let's take a look at, going to minimize my trading screen here. If you're still holding, by all means, from your stop, I would put my stop personally at break even kind of thing. Let's take a look at what we saw here just in terms of volume and participation too while we're letting this trade kind of work out. That 10-minute opening range, you can see all the volume, 1-minute volume bars here, in the 200 range, right? And then we hit the push and get everything above the VWAP here. 100 contracts, 76 down, 47 back up, 36 sideways, 100 down into the VWAP almost. Then we had a nice volume push, this 246 contracts up and through. This is the day, 108 traded up there. You had plenty control above highs of the old opening range highs. Those are those white boxes on these volume bars. Then you have that big sweeping downward minute into the one with 178 contracts and 114. Both of them unable to penetrate that I can't believe I got a fill there today. That was, not gonna lie, we deserve this one. given how annoying it was the last few days. 114, 141 up, and then here you look, return to red, but it's 77. Right now, you're going to want to see the market take out this 93 level. That's where there is the point of control currently. Probably going to come down for a second test. It feels like I'm not too worried, but if you do get stopped, be cautious in your entry because it could dip down below the VWAP and then come back above. And if it does go below the VWAP, you wait for it to come back above to get back in for that push higher. And by all means, I mean, you will need to go to break even. This is a pretty good 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio kind of trade setup so far. It's pretty clean. You see a little dip usually. I'm not going to press my luck today, namely because I've already made $1,000 per account, and I can't justify taking more risk today. And after yesterday's stop out, I needed this one. Because I didn't size down like I tell everyone you should, right? That's just me. CVD is very positive here. You've got this build up, right? You had a new high in the CVD with a high in the day. This last push retested it. A little bit of divergence, but so I'm here above the VWAP. This can be acceptable. And this is all acceptance above the VWAP. And by the way, a push, I would still, again, anticipate that push up to new highs into the gap fill. As long as it's happening, I'm going to stick around and I'll be here, talking through the trade as if I'm in it. Even though I've already scalped out what I wanted to get out of this trade. And I highly suggest anyone use, that does that type of thing. I look at that, it whipped down to break it to test the VWAP again. Low volume, and look at the volume come in after retest that VWAP. Now that longs are starting to chase it higher. I don't love that idea, but that's the type of aggressive bid you would get in an uptrend, right? You don't want to see people chase unless it's with the trend or early in the trend, because that's the aggressive bid that crosses, the dealing spread. We want to now see the market establish back above 28,082.5. That's where these last 3 minutes point of control is, and arguably was the point of control on every test of the VWAP at this point. And that's those white marks. Volume's still really light, so I'm hesitant to say, I would want to hang on to the market if it goes below the VWAP. But I still think there is a decent probability of a big flush out here, given that volume's been kind of lighter. And that volume, though, will be, if we come back above the VWAP, you can get back in, right? Don't risk too much here after it's given a reaction and come back down for a second test. I would be personally getting out of the trade or trying to stop, or manage my risk so that, if you did get taken out on that pullback, that stinks, but you don't want to be a part of this if it goes below the VWAP at this point, because it will come back above if it's going to go through highs, right? And you can get back in on that push up. All that being said, kind of waiting for that volume move, which we're heading into a 30-minute candle close and a 15-minute candle close in 5 minutes. The next 5 minutes, I would expect this market to take a stand. We'll see what happens. Little bit of a trend line off the highs now that I kind of see it and pull out and can look at things another way. Little bull flag against the VWAP in this trend line. You get above, that 84, 85 area. All right, so you get that dip below the VWAP there, but it can't establish its head fake. So far, failed auction lower. Let's look at that volume candle again to see the volume profile candles. See if we get what kind of volume there, 110. See, this is what we're talking about. Point of control below the VWAP. You had all of these sellers down here get basically juked out or get sucked in. And now you're going to get that push and squeeze to highs. Notice how this is the biggest candle since our last test of the VWAP in terms of volume. It shows you where the participation is. It came back above that trend line, coming back down to test it now as support. That's the VWAP as support yet again. I don't love it. The market just can't get legs and follow through, but so far, there's somebody attached, and there are definitely buyers attached. Wow. Buff off. Getting dicey. That was a 20-handle move before you could blink. I also don't usually risk beyond the lows of prior lows in the day. Wonder if there's something to be said for this gap not filling yet, right? Yeah, that damn 12-period EMA. So El Nico. Well, good thing almost isn't a stop out, right? Positive CVD still in this pullback. Very important now to take a look. If you were stopped out or something, I would rest on getting back in until you establish back above the VWAP now. But let's take a look at what that volume was down here. They both start cooking burgers soon, man. Man. There you go, 214, yep. And so you can see now these points of controls in these last three candles are clustered between 65 and 70. That's like the basically VWAP trying to act as resistance again now. You really don't want to see the lows of this candle taken out with volume. Oh man, don't be another loser for ForceSweep. It's not over till it's over, folks, but we do want to see you get back above that. VWAP volume is waning down here. I would classify this as some acceptance, but below the VWAP, but it's not very much, mainly because of the whippy nature of this tail. Yeah, I don't like the way this looks, huh? How many core plays in my playbook? How many like core trades? There's probably like 6 or 7 core trades about that. This Globex ForceSweep is just one of them. I'm counting my stars lucky that I'm walking away with a W today, given the price action we have. Yeah, I don't really trust this either. Although, if we do get back above the VWAP, at that trend line, I feel like it will go. Want to see if you just can do it here, right? We're just hitting that VWAP as resistance again. But as much as you want it to, it's just not doing it yet. All strategies are going to get a little wonky and wacky when we have this much volatility. When you take a step back and you look at what today was, like, I was pretty nervous coming into today's session because of just this. Again, it was like Friday. Again, at least we got a bounce today that Friday did not see. Monday was the bounce from Friday, right? Today we had the sell-off and the bounce that Friday and Monday effectively were. Seeing the VWAP as resistance right now is not a great look. Personally, I would be trailing my stop up if you still have it on the full. The full risk, I would be pulling the stop up to, below these lows at this point, because this market does not look at this moment like it wants to sweep back to the highs, even though if it gets back above that VWAP, I think there's a high probability it does do exactly that, and head towards that gap fill. But this initial attempt up to the gap fill and failure to get there, in fact, you basically, if you measure this gap fill to the opening high, it basically did, 50% gap fill, which is technically significant in some regards. Yeah, I'm going to be doing more New York sessions. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, I would be getting stopped out here if I was still in this trade or almost. And then waiting for a re-entry if we get back above the trend line in the VWAP here. So more New York sessions are definitely on the docket. I want to, showcase a little bit more of what I do during that session. I do have more planned and lined up. I don't always trade them, because I'll come in tomorrow and just trade Sim because all my accounts are done for the day now, right? Which is fine. I don't mind doing that, but I want everybody to realize I'm not actually trading, and that when I do that, or I don't have any personal risk at all. And actually, I should probably just that's when I should save my little small account that I haven't traded in a week. It's up to like $1,800 or $1,800. The $500 account I started with and moved on it. I should come and trade my cursor in the New York session. That's what I should do. So I will plan to do that more, Mini. Because I like it. It's fun. It's way quicker than this. And, yeah.
Thank God that the brothers on the rise now. Endless celebrations all in my house. Levitating now, I'm super duper fly now. London boy, but DC where I reside now. But the time.
Alright, so let's check out the thought. Ah, what's up, buddy? I got my little one screaming at me. What's a bird? Alright, so volume down here, 103.95. You got actually pretty good volume and acceptance below the VWAP right now. But this could all be trapped sellers. You got a decent volume down here. If you push back above their VWAP, that's where the force push kind of setup comes into play. So let's go over some new rules that I'm kind of adding to my trading strategy that today I did not have enough time to even talk about before this trade initially happened, which is pretty wild how quickly it played out, or initially. Oh, and I hear that, brother. Or sister, I shouldn't assume, but yeah, there's definitely some good EDM music that I've got a colored past of enjoyment with as well. Oh my god, now I've got three kids and a wife, or 2 kids and one on the way. Oh, how times have changed. Yeah, we used to. I played hard. I worked hard. I played hard. Okay, and no regrets. Right, so one of the things that I have kind of implemented in my trading, which I think you've all seen somewhat, is like this is like this, where the market comes down, we get a good first touch and a good reaction. I want to maximize my gains on that first reaction, lock in stops. And if it comes down for a second test, I could potentially take it, but I need to wait for that, reason in that break away from the VWAP. And I don't mind getting back in later because I already nabbed most of the trade I wanted, right? Now that you go below the VWAP, I want to be out of this thing and waiting for it to come back above. Because all this time spent below, we're just trapping shorts, right? And positive CBD this whole time. Something weird about this sell-off right now below the VWAP, but I say that it's probably a flush to lose. But all of these sellers down here will become trapped if we start to squeeze it back below the VWAP, and we'll go to highs and beyond. Until that happens, though, it's acceptance below the VWAP, and all that volume we see trading is, in terms of price discovery, is the market saying, oh no, we want to be down here, And here it kind of comes. Dang, I hate having to put up another L on the stream in terms of but also if you look at my trading here, why isn't that? If you look at my trading, what I was doing before, I was anticipating the gap fill and trading basically an initial opening range on this in the first 2 minutes of the trade. Then the market started establishing itself back above the VWAP, and I was trying to get long for the gap fill before the initial trade the actual VWAP trade I took. So I had already built up a $600 buffer before that $400 I pulled there. In this kind of trading, I should probably show it, but I'm here to showcase the ForceSweep, so I don't know. You gotta do what you gotta do to make money, get your bag and go home, right? Nico, okay, so what Nico just said, I just took half the loss I normally should on this if it hits a full 1-to-1 stop. That is a win for the day. 100% that's a win, right? I'm considering my lucky stars. I managed the trade well and had some scalps. I actually had an initial stop out. If you look right here, this first stop was just 40 points straight against me. And then I did a force push, which is as it comes back to above and up the VWAP, took it. Then I was anticipating the breakout, so I took this 100-tick breakout of anticipating the market basically breaking out. This, again, another sweep of an engulfing candle. I got long for anticipating the run up to the gap fill and I aggressively trailed the stop. Didn't happen. And right, another engulfing candle back above the VWAP, took a break-even stop there. Then this was a breakout candle. I said, oh, I actually said it right. Oh, I want to take this breakout. I did. Quickly took it, scalped out that, and then the market went broken the high of the day, and now the ForceSweep setup occurs, right? Technically the ForceSweep isn't stopped yet, but darn close to taking out lows of the day. I would be shocked if it doesn't at this point. I hope it doesn't. But once we got, and there it all goes. Once we got that initial move off the VWAP and started to come back, fight with it, and then go under, this is your signal from now on to kind of get out, right? And we can get back in once we get back above the VWAP for that break and squeeze higher. And so that's kind of the new change, or the new rule I'm implementing in my own trading and system, is that, hey, the initial reaction off the VWAP we get from this trade, more times than not, is the value that we want to exploit. Because then the market, if the market doesn't stay up there, we become the target, which is exactly what happened in the latter part of this trade here. VWAP standard deviations are great too. You can, I'll throw those up in the chart here in a second so you can kind of see exactly what that looks like. So everybody knows what Nico's talking about. But that's unfortunate that we have a full stop here 2 days in a row for the ForceSweep. And hey, stop outs happen. We need to move on to the next one. And honestly, this is where risk management styles and strategies are imperative for any trader, to be able to just do better than the status quo. And the status quo in this trade was a full stop out. Yesterday, I ate the full stop out. I did a terrible trade management. Today, way better trade management. This is exactly why, why I'm preaching about trade managing here rather than following the system blindly, because there's nuances to it, right? You can all see the initial setup. 10-minute opening range broke higher. We got a reaction from the VWAP, and then it didn't hold. And we didn't want that second test of the VWAP, but that second test is a time to think about getting out, break even. There's oftentimes if it goes below, it'll come back up to test the VWAP as resistance. Again, an opportunity to get back out and get out of the trade. I'll be using those opportunities myself if caught in a trade in the future, because you can always get in, if it were to break above the VWAP and above that line at any point in time, it's probably going back to highs, but it just didn't do that tonight. It felt that trend line, held the VWAP as resistance. We saw acceptance below the VWAP that talked about briefly there, right? That decent volume. CB is still positive, though it's a very strange, on a gap down, you do not expect to see this. More buyers and sellers, which maybe, I don't know, read into that however you want. But we'll be back tomorrow as price action evolves, right? So, I don't blend with the lows. And actually, let's be fair. Let's go and take a look at yesterday's price action, because now it's looking very similar to what happened yesterday around this time of day with the Globex ForceSweep. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. All we did was dance with the VWAP. You had that initial opening range, right? Whatever it was. They broke lower, they went below the VWAP. Then they went and broke above the opening range. And then back below the opening range. And then finally they broke back above the opening range and stayed there for the rest of the day. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4 times that opening range for the 10-minute opening range yesterday. We transversed and just chopped around that reversion to mean. This is just deadly price action for this trade strategy. And the rest of this week, we're going to have to be aware of this, because clearly this is the pattern so far. 2 days in a row. I don't ignore these things. 2 days in a row so far of this expanding type price action, where you just transverse the VWAP, and I would not be surprised to see it come back up, actually fill that gap, and then go back down again, just like we did yesterday. So, with all that being said, I'm going to go cook some burgers. I'm done for the day. Stop out with a full ForceSweep. That sucks. But it's good post-mortem to talk about how we can always do better with that risk management. I personally was able to do a little better on my own risk management today. But, you know, I'm not always that guy. But more times than not, I'm the guy that wasn't that lucky and was more obstinate and stuck in this trade, win, lose, draw, right? But this is a great example. Actually, yesterday, I think we could maybe do some post-mortem on that real quick too, because we can very clearly see the reaction today. Yesterday, I would say that it wasn't as much. Yesterday's ForceSweep, the 10-minute opening range, and then we were looking to be short. My only mistake yesterday was still taking this trade on the second test. But truthfully, once we established above the VWAP again there, and we were coming right down to test it as support, that should have been my exit, or at least trailing the stop all the way from full stop down to like these highs. Because at that point, you've got acceptance above the VWAP once we tested as support, and it was on, off. Not to mention that initial front run of the VWAP. It was rather large, but the market almost made it down to a new low today. This price action right here was in essence, right? That drop was in essence the spirit of the reaction we wanted out of the market. The 10-minute opening range break, and then some kind of mean reversion back down to lows. It just didn't it gave us the spirit or not the executional trade that we could profit from. I mean, that's wild. If this trades from a short now, that would be, which then leads me to believe, do I need to now qualify the gap fill as the, instead of the opening range high, to use the gap fill? Because if that's the case, boy, it looks like you had a short here. Great question. Do I ever change my bias into long short if it reclaims the VWAP? Absolutely, I do. Yeah, you do. I do. I try to be fluid like that because I'm not committed. I mean, I am committed to this idea of the trade, but I want the profits, right? Oliver, I am going to be trying to be live for New York tomorrow. I'll come. I'll be there. I should be trading my little micro account. I haven't traded it since last week, and I've been focusing on these new MFFU and E8 evals I've got going. We're trying to get them funded so that I've got 20 solid funded accounts again. I just feel like 4, but only got 5 loose suit stuff making. Mainly because last year at this time I was rocking 50 accounts. I had 20 with 8 packs. It's just it's a different world, and I'm trying to build back into that without doing it as aggressively as I did last year. All right, but long story short, yeah, do I ever switch the bias and flip? That's what we refer to as the force push, which I will cover more in this idea, but we'll see. I'll show you real quick. I closed Ninja. It's Replicanto, so I trade through Ninja Trader, and I've got a paid add-on called Replicanto by Globex, which I should partner with him and get affiliate with him, because that's a great product. And I usually use all TradeAway logins. You can have one rhythmic login with what's it called? Ninja, and then as many TradeAway and Ninja Trader logins as you want. They all use the same. Those all use the same gateway through TradeAway, who owns Ninja and the portal. But Replicanto allows me to then trade from the SIM account. In Ninja is my main account I'm trading, and every other one is set up as a just copy trader, all within Ninja Trader. The reason it works better than the others is because it all lives on my machine. And if I've got a remote trade, or if I want to trade remotely, I have my machine on and then I remote desktop into it. So it's all happening on my orders. What the heck, I'll boot up Ninja and show you guys real quick, because it is a really cool tool. One sec. Before I show you my Ninja Trader Aspen with... Alright, we're back. Log in here. E8s. Sid, MFFU, that's the 90 I need, walking all of them. And then Replicanto over here. So need to add a new source here. I can't believe this, so this is what it looks like, folks. This is Replicanto by Flowbots. You set up a leader account. In this case, I just use the sim account. What kind of method you want to, ratio or copy, I do exact higher ratio. And then you can set a ratio here. And the reason I use ratios, let's say these E8 or E8 accounts were micros or a 25K account. I want to trade a micro in there. If you click this crossover button, it flips you to now trading and copying directly to the micros. And you can set a ratio. I want a half size on these, so I'll do a 5-to-1 ratio, 5 micros for every one NQ that's traded in the sim account. Right? You set up the leader and the instrument that you want to follow. And if you want to do more instruments, you just have to open up another Replicanto window and just simply set that one up, copy that, or you can set, any leader account to then the followers, right? And then you toggle them all on and off if you don't want these ones to be copied for the time being, right? Toggle off, toggle on, package, done them all at once. There's the flatten all button, which is the greatest, probably some of the biggest value of this product. Press that flatten all button and it will cancel all working orders, flatten all positions, and holy cow, a ForceSweep short this work. But yeah, I want to set this back, obviously, because I want it all set to 1-to-1 to just straight copy. The ATM copy is cool. You can turn that on and off. And of course, you can individually flatten the accounts if you need. But the ATM copy is so that every time you have a trade that goes through, it'll copy the ATM to each account rather than just following the leader's orders. So if you get a slightly different fill on another account, but you want that 20-to-20 risk no matter what, every account will have their individual orders out there working as an ATM strategy. So another trick I do is my, there you go. Another trick I do is I use these ATM strategies, and personally I use my favorite is the 80-80 with a custom stop strategy that basically just goes to break even if we get to 72 ticks. So automatically, if I get within 8 ticks of target or 2 points of my target, it will trail the stop to at least break even for me. And if that ATM is copied across all of my accounts, every single account gets trailed to break even without me having to move the stop independently. And I'm thinking about making these a little bit more diverse, having multiple stop levels, it gets to plus 10 points, it goes break even, plus 15, it locks in 5, all those things, so that I can be hands off in a fast market that's moving faster than I can react. But these are all things that I utilize to help manage a ton of trades and things at once. And of course, like I said, that flatten all button is coming handy more times than you can imagine when things go awry or there's weird things. But yeah, so that's how I do it. That's how I do it. So kind of crazy to see here that the original 10-minute ORB or 10-minute ForceSweep failed on us, and then the market turns around and just trades a perfect short setup on us. But it is what it is. With all that being said, everybody, I'll be back tomorrow. And this price action develops. My wife is maybe having a baby, so we don't know when. One that's coming any minute now. So I can be hit or miss, but I will try to be back and plan to be back here tomorrow to try to trade my micro account, because I've had good success during the day. And if there's a trade I'm going to be doing that on, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's anonymous a beat of this broadcast and this stream. We'll see you all tomorrow. I'm going to have to chalk up that big L for the ForceSweep tonight, but it is what it is. We'll be back with you all tomorrow. And as price action develops, thanks for coming, everybody. Remember, trading features involves risk is not suitable for everyone. Everything you see here today is just my opinion and not a direct trading recommendation.